Welcome back, everyone. Thank you so much for your incredible support. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing to stay updated. Now, let's delve into our story. Man, that was a total trap. The old guy tricked them into going down there, and then bam, the door slams shut. He starts yelling about how everyone is going to be his sacrifice. Zhang and Lu charge ahead, and Shan and Lu want to join in, but our protagonist tells them to hang back for a sec. All of a sudden, the demons break free and attack the group. Zhang is freaking out because these demons are crazy fast. The protagonist pulls Shun and Lu out of the way, making the demons miss their attack. He quickly realizes these aren't just regular bodies. They're the bodies of demon kings. Lu gets hit in the chest but tries to stay alert, while Zhang is fighting like his life depends on it, which it does. Everyone is facing off now. Shin checks on Lu, who says he can hang in there a bit longer. Zhang yells at the old man, promising he's going to die for what he's done. Yifan figures out that these demons are actually demonic puppets, made from people who died and are now being controlled with some evil magic. These demonic puppets are super creepy. They use the bodies of living people as sacrifices and keep all their memories and powers, getting even stronger through cultivation. There are 4 of these puppets, plus the old man, and a super strong puppet still tied up. Things are looking rough for our protagonist. The old man orders the demons to kill everyone, and the fight kicks off again. Zhang slices a demon's neck and thinks he's won, but the old man laughs and uses magic to heal it instantly. Everyone's totally floored by what just happened. Lu's like, "We can't keep burning through our energy like this." Zhang tells the crew to hold off the puppets while he goes after the old man. He pulls out a talisman, saying that if he takes down the old guy, the puppets will stop. A powerful sword bursts out of the talisman and flies straight for the old man. But Shizong just grabs the sword with his hand, asking if Zhang's the top cultivator among them. He throws the sword back and says Zhang needs to eat a lot more beans if he wants to fight him. The sword smacks Zhang right in the forehead, and he realizes their intel was way off. The old man's in the realm of enlightenment. Lu is freaking out, thinking if Zhang, their strongest fighter, is struggling, they're all doomed. Shizong orders the demons to throw everyone into the blood pools. The group's thinking they're done for. But then, Yifan uses his floating flower steps and reaches Shizong. Our protagonist makes a swift move and slices off the old man's arm. Zhang's totally confused about what just happened. Shizong screams in pain but bounces back, yelling that he's going to kill the protagonist. But then the protagonist busts out another move, the violent rain sword technique, second form, Storm. The old man recognizes it and tries to throw up a blood shield, but it doesn't help. Every strike hits him perfectly. All the puppets suddenly stop moving, and the old man is left beaten and unable to fight. The protagonist tells him to give up because there's no way he's winning this. The fat man is stunned, and Shan is super impressed by the protagonist's power. Shizong's shaking all over, totally in shock that Yifan managed to hurt him with just a yellow-ranked sword technique. He thinks to himself, this is what you'd expect from a sacred land disciple. But then the old man snaps. He starts ranting about how everyone's destined to die today. Yifan's on high alert as the growth puppet gets unleashed. The group sees the protagonist in serious danger and can't believe Shizong managed to refine a puppet at the peak of the Enlightenment realm. Yifan yells for everyone to get out, and they barely dodge at the last second. The growth puppet is foaming with rage. They hide behind a pillar, and Lu tries to wake the old man, but he's already dead. The growth puppet's losing control fast. Yifan shouts that it's coming, realizing the puppet's striking randomly, following just the sound. He tells everyone to hide and stay quiet. They hide again, and Shin asks Zhang what they should do now. Zhang says they should escape because they can't take down the growth puppet on their own. But the protagonist disagrees, saying fleeing isn't an option. If they leave the puppet free, it'll result in the deaths of hundreds of innocent people. They need to end this now. Zhang gets angry and tells Yifan to shut up, insisting that they should leave quickly and call for reinforcements. Lu stands by Yifan, saying he's not going alone. Lu's going with him. Zhang asks what Lu means by that. Lu points out that they need to think carefully about whether they can really escape and how long it would take for reinforcements to arrive. The fastest backup could get there is about an hour, and by then, the growth puppet would have wiped out everyone within hundreds of miles. Lu stands tall and says he's not afraid to die. He'd rather fight this demon than let innocent people die to save himself. Shun and Lu are on board, ready to fight too. Zhang argues that it's just a death wish. The protagonist gets frustrated and asks how they can protect their nation and families if they run away in a crisis. If they won't risk their lives, they can't do anything for their country or loved ones. He explains that the world is safe because people know they might die but still do their duty. That's why there's peace. Zhang, irritated, shouts, asking who's supposed to be in charge. This commotion catches the growth puppet's attention and it charges at them. Lu draws his sword, ready to fight. But the protagonist steps up with his floating flower steps. Zhang yells that the demons in the realm of enlightenment and Yifan won't even scratch it. But the protagonist is serious and puts on his thundercloud ring. He releases a lightning bolt at the puppet and asks, "Who's the idiot now?" The bolt hits the puppet square in the chest, sending it flying. With just one strike, the protagonist defeats the growth puppet in the realm of enlightenment. The group is blown away by his power. The protagonist declares that only he decides whether he can harm his opponent or not. The puppet starts crying and calling for the general and Susu, saying it has no regrets. The protagonist notices that the demon still has some humanity left. He knows that demonic puppets usually have their humanity erased to make them easier to control. So seeing one with humanity still intact and obedient to its master means the person probably chose to become a puppet. The protagonist is puzzled by this. Lu is stunned that the puppet was really destroyed, while Zhang, from the back, insists it's impossible. He notices the protagonist used a magic weapon and asks where he got it, but the protagonist says it's one of his trump cards, so he kept it a secret. The protagonist goes near the pool and notices something off about the blood. Shin asks what's wrong, and Yifan says the blood doesn't seem human but beast blood. Lu mentions the intel said Shizong is a demon and wonders how he could use beast blood. Suddenly, the palace starts collapsing. The protagonist shouts for everyone to get out as fast as possible. A pillar falls towards the group, but suddenly a barrier protects them. Lu asks who's doing that, and a woman named Xiao Chai appears, saying she's glad she wasn't too late. She asks if everyone's okay. Lu recognizes her and is happy to see her. Yifan asks if she's using spiritual energy. Xiao Chai remarks that it's a miracle they're still alive after facing a demon puppet at the peak of the Enlightenment realm. She adds that she'll put in a good word for them, which will make them famous for a while. Suddenly, another pillar starts to fall towards her, but she snaps her fingers and evaporates it entirely. Even the protagonist is impressed by Xiao Chai. As she approaches, everyone thanks her for saving them. She goes up to the protagonist and asks if he's Yifan. She comments that it's impressive he managed to kill the growth puppet despite being only at the mid-stage of the marrow-cleansing realm. The protagonist humbly says he was just lucky. She smiles and mentions she heard everything he said, noting it's rare for an outer disciple to have such great understanding. Meanwhile, Zhang thinks the protagonist won because of his powerful magic weapon. He rummages through the old man's body and finds a rare magical storage ring. Just as he finds it, Xiao Chai takes the ring from him, saying it was the old man's best treasure, and praises Zhang for his sharp eye. She tosses the ring to the protagonist, saying that since Yifan killed the general, the old man's treasures belong to him. Yifan is thrilled and thanks her, knowing that a magical storage treasure is priceless in the outside world. He thinks it'll be perfect for when he returns to the contribution hall to give divine treasures and herbs from the earth. Zhang is fuming with anger at the protagonist. Xiao Chai then says the general was quite pitiful. His family had been loyal for generations, guarding the borders for the Wei royal family and protecting the people. He was a rare and good general. His only daughter, Susu, fell in love with one of the commanders under the old man's command but was forced by the king of Wei to marry for peace with the barbarians. As a result, Susu was tortured to death, and her father sought revenge by working with demons to create a puppet for attacking the Wei royal family. The group recalls Lady Yang mentioning that if Susu were there, she might not feel so lonely. Lu now understands the significance of her words. Xiao Chai points out that the scars on the old man's body are from battles he led with his soldiers. The protagonist recalls the demon puppet saying it had no regrets. He then realizes the puppet was actually the commander Susu loved. Zhang starts kicking Shizong, saying the old man doesn't deserve sympathy. He feels it was a waste coming there for nothing. Seeing this, the protagonist kicks a stone that hits Zhang's leg hard. Zhang asks what Yifan's doing. The protagonist explains Shizong is already dead, and they shouldn't take out their anger on him. Zhang asks what they'll do with the body. Yifan says he'll take it to Lady Yang and explain everything. Zhang insists they need to cut off the old man's head for the mission's sake. The protagonist turns and firmly states he'll only say this once. The body must stay intact for Lady Yang. Zhang questions if the protagonist is serious, and the protagonist tells him to stop. Xiao Chai then gives Zhang a tiger amulet, explaining it will validate their mission since the old man used it to command his troops. For a general, this item is more important than life itself and will clarify everything. Xiao Chai agrees with Yifan, while Zhang begrudgingly admits the protagonist is a scoundrel. Sometime later at the old man's grave, the protagonist reveals Lady Yang already knows everything. Shin asks if she's okay with it, and Xiao Chai explains that Lady Yang had foreseen all of this. She believes the old man can now find peace reunited with his daughter in the afterlife, liberated from the cycle of cause and effect. Lady Yang plans to devote herself to Buddha, chanting scriptures to bring salvation and help lost souls find happiness and quicker reincarnation. Afterward, the protagonist calls everyone to leave. Before departing, Shin asks Xiao Chai how she found them. She reveals she came with senior brother Zhang to assist in slaying a demon king, although she's not yet strong enough for such tasks. Zhang asked her to capture some of the demon king's underlings. While passing by the general's mansion, she sensed demonic energy. Everyone is surprised by her admission of weakness. Shin asks if this Zhang is from the sacred land. Xiao Chai confirms it, adding that Zhang is known as the Eastern spiritual flower among the 5 true disciples. Curious, the protagonist asks about sacred maidens and the 5 true disciples. Shin chides him for his ignorance, explaining that the 5 true disciples are the top talents from the factions of the 5 elements in the sacred land. They were personally trained by the leaders of their respective factions and are the true heirs of the sacred land's elemental techniques. Among them are Eastern Spirit Song, Southern Sword Essence, Western Myriad Sounds, Northern Flying Tiger, and Central Divine Dragon. Senior Sister Jiang, known as Eastern Spirit Song, is the youngest and most talented among these disciples, acclaimed as the top beauty in the sacred land of the 5 elements, earning her the title of Sacred Maiden. Xiao Chai asks if they'd like to witness her beauty firsthand. Meanwhile, where Zhang is engaged, the battle rages fiercely. Disciples attack from one side while the formidable demon King of Great Sorrow strikes from the other, mocking them as mere foot soldiers and generals unworthy of his attention. He derides the sacred land, questioning if they're so desperate as to send a girl to confront him on the front lines. Jiang boldly asserts she can handle him alone. From a distance, the protagonist group watches helplessly, Xiao Chai noting their lower realm levels make intervention impossible. The protagonist senses the overwhelming aura of the Demon King and wonders if this indeed is the fearsome foe. In the midst of the clash, the Demon King curses Zhang, proclaiming Zhang's imminent demise. At Zhang's command, disciples initiate the formation of the Divine Dragon Lock. They concentrate intently as branches converge to ensnare the Demon King, who recognizes the technique and struggles furiously against the magical confinement. Despite his defiance, the disciples labor to contain him within the confines of the cube. Zhang clarified that she wasn't attempting to trap him. Suddenly, she summoned a flock of golden crows, stunning the king with their unexpected appearance and potent energy. Yifan observed their emergence, noting the intense energy they radiated out of nowhere. With precision, Zhang explained she had created an opening to unleash her technique. A colossal crow materialized before the king, its command from Zhang clear: to consume the demon. Without hesitation, the crow engulfed the cube containing the king. Despite his defiant cries, the king stood no chance against the divine flames of the crow, which consumed his very existence. In a blaze of divine extinction fire, the Demon King met his end. Yet, the moment was not without its consequences. Zhang's technique triggered a massive explosion, prompting the other disciples to shield themselves. Zhang marveled at the sheer power of the blast, feeling its searing heat even from a great distance. The protagonist's group, witnessing the swift annihilation of the formidable Demon King, wondered if this was the true might of a top disciple. Approaching Zhang, a group inquired about her well-being. Assured she was unharmed, Zhang queried if they had cleared the battlefield, receiving a confirming nod. Xiao Chai elucidated that Zhang had employed the heaven and earth technique, reserved for those at the 7th level of spiritual cultivation, the realm of spiritual manifestation. Shun voiced admiration, likening Zhang's prowess to that of celestial beings. Yifan pondered his own potential to someday reach Zhang's level. Jiang, meanwhile, scanned the forest and called out to those hidden within. Xiao Chai remarked that they had been spotted, prompting Jiang to question when Xiao Chai had first noticed them. Addressing Xiao Chai's decision to expose her disciples to danger, Xiao Chai explained it was to broaden their horizons, deepen their understanding of the world, and witness Zhang's heroic deeds. She also praised Yifan for his achievement in defeating a peak Enlightenment realm opponent despite being in the Marrow Cleansing realm. Zhang inquired directly if the protagonist, despite being in the Marrow Cleansing realm, had indeed defeated someone at the peak of the Enlightenment realm. Yifan, feeling a bit bashful, confirmed it. Zhang acknowledged it as impressive, prompting the protagonist to blush and modestly downplay his achievement, feeling unworthy due to his low cultivation level. He struggled to meet Zhang's gaze, and used to such direct attention. From behind, Zhang couldn't resist mocking, reminding everyone that despite Yifan's prowess, he was still just a practitioner with a yellow rank. Shun intervened, playfully scolding Zhang for his envy and stepping on his foot to silence him. Zhang, intrigued by the conversation, asked the protagonist to confirm his yellow rank status. With a nod, the protagonist admitted his qualification. Zhang expressed surprise, considering the high value placed on qualifications in the sacred land of the five elements, and wondered how someone with seemingly low talent had managed to impress the sacred maiden. To Zhang's surprise, Xiao Chai clarified that even the sacred lord of the ethereal sacred land possessed a yellow qualification, emphasizing that qualification alone did not define one's potential. Many individuals with modest qualifications achieved remarkable cultivation levels on the ancient Hope continent. As Zhang prepared to leave, she encouraged the protagonist to work diligently. Should he advance to the realm of mystical spirit cultivation in the future, she promised to recommend him to join the Wood faction, her own faction alongside Xiao Chai. Grateful, Yifan thanked Zhang for her generosity, impressing her with the prospect of being recommended by the sacred maiden herself. Envy flared within Zhang, realizing the prestige and resources such a recommendation could afford the protagonist. Shortly after, Lu called for their departure, reminding them of the need to collect their contribution points before it grew too late. At the contribution hall, the protagonist proudly received his 101 points, considering it a significant achievement for a newcomer in their 6-person division. As they prepared to leave, Zhang remained behind, prompting Shun to discuss the potential for exchanging their points for martial arts techniques. Lu already had one in mind, eager to make use of their newfound resources. However, Zhang suddenly called out to the protagonist, questioning his intention to keep all the rewards from the old man's ring. Yifan affirmed his decision, but Zhang grew visibly angry, declaring he wouldn't allow it. Asserting his role as the group leader, Zhang insisted he had the right to distribute the rewards. Lu immediately objected, criticizing Zhang's sudden change in stance now that Xiao Chai was no longer present. He reminded Zhang that without Yifan's actions, they would have perished in the underground palace. Zhang dismissed this, arguing that he had played his part and deserved a share of the ring. He further accused Yifan of overstepping his authority by giving orders despite Zhang being the mission leader. The tension escalated quickly. The protagonist moved swiftly, slapping Zhang and warning him not to provoke further. Lu tried to intervene, cautioning against impulsiveness, but Yifan was resolute. He continued, knocking Zhang down and asserting that their score wasn't settled from their previous clash in the secret chamber. Yifan agreed to apologize if Zhang knelt to hear it, sparking further resentment from Zhang. Claiming generosity in accepting someone like Yifan into the group, Zhang expressed deep offense at the disrespect shown in the physical altercation. He warned Yifan of unforgivable consequences and retreated behind Shun, threatening revenge. However, the protagonist called Zhang back, prompting a smile from Zhang, who declared he no longer desired anything from the ring. The tense confrontation concluded with unresolved tensions simmering beneath the surface, leaving a palpable rift within the group. The tension at the contribution hall reached its peak as the protagonist, fueled by frustration, delivered another slap to Zhang, sending him sprawling. Shun pleaded for them to cease fighting, but Yifan justified his action by claiming Zhang's twitch provoked him to act against Zhang's misaligned face. Zhang, now seething with anger, threatened to retaliate, but Yifan swiftly pointed his sword at him, declaring he had endured enough. With resolve, Yifan warned Zhang never to cross paths with him again on pain of another beating. As the group moved forward, leaving Zhang simmering on the ground, the other disciples marveled at Yifan's audacity, questioning how a novice could display such arrogance. Leo advised Yifan against impulsiveness, cautioning that the incident might draw the attention of the elders from the contribution hall's law enforcement division. Unperturbed, Yifan produced 3 vials of 4th-grade spiritual beast blood, distributing them among his comrades. Leo recognized the value immediately, explaining that such blood could fetch 10,000 contribution points each, equivalent to a human cultivator in the realm of mystical spiritual energy. Lu confirmed its origin from the old man's storage ring, prompting Shun to ask if Yifan was certain about sharing such precious resources. Yifan insisted that everyone deserved a share for their collective efforts during the mission. However, in a surprising twist, the protagonist revealed that the 4th-grade beast blood was actually leftover from a chicken he had brought from his world. And with that, we conclude this chapter. I hope you enjoyed today's content. If you did, don't forget to smash that like button. Let's aim for 200 likes on this video. If you're excited for the next installment, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Until then, take care.